All right, so welcome to another video. And in today's episode, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Target. And we're going to take a look at after the recent pullback here. Maybe this stock has something to give and to check out. So what we're going to do is take a look at some of the charts. So the big question is when we look at Target, is it time to buy Target after a massive sell-off? Because right now, if we take a look at what's been going on with Target, you can take a look at the recent pullback here and just kind of the movement down. What we've got is quite a bit of a pullback, especially here after we're breaking down. We've had a nice double top, almost triple top here around the $260 price level. I mean, the stock's been going down, then another crash. And then we had some consolidation here recently between April and April. So consolidation for quite a while. And then recently we just had a kind of a pretty significant pullback as well. So if we look at kind of the daily, you can see, boom, we're just tanking massively. And that's kind of really the question is that after a nice movement to the downside, when you really start looking at it, it starts to become an interesting place to start buying and getting into the stock. Because if we start looking at kind of the monthly type of these charts, I mean, Target stock price has been trending nicely over multiple years. So when we start looking at kind of this trend, it has been pretty nice. And it's coming back now into a nice level here where it's starting to become interesting. If we look into the kind of the weekly as well, and you start looking at this, you're coming into some possible support level here. It could be around that 130 level, coming back into around the 2020 timeframe. So it's been quite a while. Anyways, so the best time to buy is usually when things are kind of oversold and people are scared. So this is what we're looking at here for this stock, is that things are starting to get pretty nasty. In fact, if you start to look at some of the news things regarding Target, there's a lot of negativity behind it. And you can see here all the different opinions and news and people yapping about it. And the fact is that eventually this stock will become a decent value, because I don't think it's going to go completely broke. It's not going to, you got a lot of real estate behind it. Unlike, when you go back to Sears and you start seeing all the Sears closures going on, it's completely different, right? So could it get to kind of a Sears level? Maybe eventually, but for the time being, Target still has some fairly good sustainability compared to those companies. And this is when you start getting into some interesting level. So the big question is, how do you kind of approach these things? And I think when you start looking at this kind of stuff and you start looking at it, you got to look at more along the duration, the longer the duration. And when you start looking at buying and nibbling, so here's kind of my fake paper account portfolio. We start looking at kind of getting into Target, and I don't think I have any Target in here right now. What you might start looking at doing is going in and starting to nibble, and I'm going to go ahead and do a vertical trade here, and you can take a look at on my Traders Fly channel if you're interested more about options. But let's say I'm interested in Target. Actually, I do have something on the 9-day here. I guess, let's see, what do I got? Oh, got some expiring options here, and then some more here, profit. Some profit things I got way back when, so selling some vertical spread, so that's fine. So what we can do is we can go ahead and set up a quick little trade. I'm going to go in and we'll go maybe 72 days out. I'll buy a simple vertical, just slightly out of the money, and we'll go in and do something like this. We'll go ahead and do maybe 3 of these contracts here. To start, that's only about $585 of risk. So it's about exposing me to about 30 shares when you look at it from a delta perspective, which is not too bad. So we'll go in, I'll put that in, just put it into like kind of a standard portfolio for now, and we'll let those things sit. Now, I could also nibble a little bit, like, a lot of people think they got to get in all right away, immediately. But sometimes just buying a pilot position, I call it a pilot position. It's kind of like an introduction position. Just go in with 10 shares. And what you can do is 10 shares, 1 share, just to have it on your radar. Just put on a single stock right there. Go ahead, send it in. And now what you'll have is something to focus on and look at. And it's a nice way to kind of say, hey, you know what? I'm in the stock. I'm not really fully committed yet, but it's just like, you know what, it's on the watch list. So now it's kind of like more serious than a watch list. There it is, 1 share, boom. So you can see I've got a ton of different positions, some short and then some long stuff. So I got to mix stuff in here. But here's a one position. You're kind of starting to build out the position. There's no profit or loss right now. It's just kind of, hey, let's get into some things. And then we're looking to kind of also build into some of these verticals here soon as well. And I could just do one for now to start on the vertical and then later on build into that. So anyway, so for now, we'll just let those sit. And, this is how you start nibbling on things, because as we start looking at kind of like a weekly chart, yeah, the stock had a big tank here and a big problem here. And eventually it's going to get into a good value buying spot in the same way that Starbucks, had a big sell off and then it did quite well. Or if you look at AMD, same way, we had a big sell off and then, continued to move further into a nice profit point, or at least back to kind of a nice level, right? Big sell off and coming back. And yes, it did take a little bit of time here for that to happen, but nevertheless, it did quite well. So that's what I want to share with you today is just, hey, when you're looking at some of these things, some of the best times to buy is really when you're looking at it is when there's a big panic and sell off. So that's really the big question in these things. So thanks for joining me in today's video. Truly appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the rest of the week. Think about these things about spreading capital in different spots, different zones, and then make your own clear-cut decision of what to do. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.